my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I am one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the bad movies of yesteryear. Now, Chris, what are we going to review this week?
Well, Dave, it was my pick, and it is one of my favourite movies in the James Bond series, Dave. I don't know why, but it is. I'm watching it again. I certainly don't know why, but there you go. We are going back to 1985, Dave. This one was the last movie in Roger Moore's James Bond tenure, just before Timothy Dalton took over. And I should do Living Daylights at some point, because I did go to the cinema to watch that as well with Aha and everything, which that's actually the first James Bond movie that I've got to the cinema to watch, even though I've not really watched both their movies. But anyway, I'm going off on one. This one stars, Dave, as I say, Roger Moore, Tanya Roberts, Grace Jones, Patrick McNee, and Christopher Walken. We are reviewing, Dave, A View to a Kill. So, my friend, do you remember the first time you saw this one?
You know what, Chris? It's going to be sacrilege, this, but I don't know if I've watched this all the way through before. I feel like my peak Bond watching years were before 1985. So I've seen bits of it, obviously, but I just don't have a firm memory of sitting down and watching this all the way through, and certain bits are just were new to me almost watching it this time. So obviously I remember it coming out at the time, but I think it was more through the music. I think about 85 I was starting to get more into, what's on Top of the Pops, getting now that's what I call music, whatever it was in that particular year. So I mean, even now I'll listen to a bit of Duran Duran, and the theme tune will pop on, and I absolutely love it. I think I mentioned last week, I think it's my favourite Bond song ever. But yeah, the movie, I don't have a firm memory of it. And I think, to be honest, Roger Moore is kind of my James Bond, because what I do remember way more is the likes of Moonraker, the likes of Octopussy. And it did see some of the Sean Connery stuff, but it was basically, being left on your own, as most of us Gen Xers were, the last key generation. We were left at home and just watching whatever was on the 3 fucking channels initially, that you'd have to pick from. So, do I want to watch the news, or, there's a James Bond thing going on? But it's more about a feeling, because I've got to say, I had no idea what was going on. It was just about the spectacle of it, and probably the reason I remember Moonraker is because of Jaws. And then the Living Daylights, you remember the big stunts, the fantastic landscapes, these far off foreign places that they go to for the scenery and everything. So I remember that feeling and loving James Bond as a character, but not really paying attention to the story or whatever. So yeah, I'm afraid I don't think I've watched this all the way through before. How about yourself, Chris?
Oh, I have watched this loads, Dave. This is, and I think when we've done the odd James Bond, we haven't done, like you said last week, we haven't done enough James Bond movies, on the podcast, really.
Might change my mind on that, but
yeah, well, after this, but I'm like you. I for years, Roger Moore was my favourite. So we had, and I probably told this, so do forgive me, but one of my cousins used to have he would record everything. So if we didn't own it, which obviously years ago, it wouldn't, then you could buy videos and stuff, but most of the time you would record it. Yeah, so he had them brown, sort of fake leather looking VHS wallets. You'd buy them, you'd buy 20.
I remember them well, with the gold writing.
That's it, the gold writing. And it was like a black sleeve. You put the video in. And what my cousin Mark did was, it's my mum's cousin, actually. He's the same age as my mum, but he's my mum's first cousin. But what he would do is, he loved watching movies and videos. So I genuinely remember this. He remember giving us every single, this all got into Our Vida Zane Pet. Our Vida Zane Pet, we watched them when they first come on the second series. I don't remember the first one, watching that, my favourite. Then he'd recorded them, but he'd paused the adverts, Dave. So we had no adverts, everything he did. The James Bond movies, he'd give us every James Bond movie from Sean Connery, Dr. No, all the way down to Roger Moore. But we didn't have on Her Majesty's Secret Service, which is weird. So we had the Sean Connery and Roger Moore sort of filmography of James Bond movies. And my nana loved, and she had them at her house, you see, my mum's mum. My nana Rainey was. She had them there. So we would go to hers, and we were always there in like the summer holidays and everything. And if they were on TV, you'd watch them. And we'd have to watch a Sean Connery one. So my favourite Connery one was like Golden, I fucking hell, no, it wasn't Goldfinger, and then it would be For Your Eye, Diamonds Are Forever, because he was in Vegas, and I think that was his last one before Roger Moore took over, and then it'd be Roger Moore. But I love the Roger Moore ones. I always felt they were a bit more modern because I'm watching it in the 80s, so you had like better. I always felt there was nicer cars. He was always a bit more charisma about him than Sean Connery. Sean Connery is, he played Bond probably as he was personally. He was a bit of a dick at times, a bit of obnoxious, but there's some great movies with Sean Connery, and everyone says Sean Connery's the best sort of thing. But I don't agree with that. I'll stick by that. I think Roger Moore was my favourite, but I do love Daniel Craig. I've got every single Daniel Craig one. The last one still pisses me off. They should never kill Bond off. I don't care what anybody says. That's just nonsense. That was more self-indulgent shit for Daniel Craig. But he was a great James Bond, and I think he became my favourite with Roger Moore. So watching these movies was great. But as this became one where I thought this was out the same year as Never Say Never Again, and it wasn't. I think it was Moonraker was out the same year as Never Say Never Again, which is the unofficial Bond, which Sean Connery stepped up and did because he didn't get the approval from the Broccoli family. But then you've got Roger Moore, his last one. Yeah, I knew he was older. I loved it. And then you always got about Bond cars, Dave. For that split second in this movie, I love that Renault that fucking gets destroyed at the Eiffel Tower. It's utterly ridiculous. So, me, I always love my cars and different things. And there's no flashy car in this other than a roller, which, it's only like as a chauffeur thing. You don't really have a car in this one, which is unusual for Bond. But yeah, I just loved it. I loved the story. I loved the fact he was in Paris. I loved it. It feels watching this like, even though, and they do say this is actually basically a rip-off of Goldfinger, don't they? They say it's a bit of a reimagining of Goldfinger. It's pretty much the same story in some respects, the way it all sets itself up.
Yeah.
But these bits in it as well. I know it sounds silly, this. You might think, what's he talking about? Well, like Beverly Hills Cop 2 came out 2 years after this, but these beats of it feels almost like Beverly, it sounds stupid, but Beverly Hills Cop almost, it feels dead familiar in some respects. What are you laughing at? Stop it. It feels
sometimes your lateral brain goes to weird places. I mean, we were covering a couple of weeks ago Erotic Ghost Story, and you somehow managed to draw a line to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm trying to rationalize how you got there to Beverly Hills Cop 2, but
I don't know, Dave.
I'm utterly perplexed, but maybe that will become transparent.
Yeah, probably. But it does mean a lot to me. So I've said before that we would go to my mum's mum. It was a bit of a safe haven as kids. That because of the way it was brought up and stuff like that. So we would go there for a bit of respite from the fucking chaos of living at home. And this was the sort of movie. So it was, like I've said before, Superman 1 and 2. My nan had copied them. I still can see the sleeve, the VHS sleeve, because it had like a stain on Superman 2. But you knew it was Superman 2. You'd watch Superman 2. But the James Bonds were another. Because of Matt, remember he did a full filmography of Michael Jackson stuff, Dave. I remember seeing Smooth Criminal. He brought this, it was like an hour and a half of Michael Jackson videos he'd recorded off the TV. How? Because there was no MTV then or anything that we could get hold of in the mid 80s. I remember watching like late 80s, that Smooth Criminal, the whole 15-20 minute like film they made, and Thriller and everything.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, he did all sorts for us, Mark. He was great. So he would do all these, and you could say to him, like, could you do as a film? And he'd get like Star Wars, and he'd sit there. And I mean, this guy was, he was probably like, my mum would have been like mid-30s, and he'd sit there and just fucking pause the adverts for you. Then all like the nephews and nieces would get, copies of the fucking films and that. Always one of them things where you look back now and go, actually, he was quite a good guy, really. He was being like a great guy sort of thing. But yeah, we had all these videos he would just send down to my nana, go to Withenshaw, where he lived with my auntie, his sister, and go, right, everyone in our family with my nana, Dave, proper Mancunian, they always have an R in for, Mark's done these for you. And he did it, but then my nana started doing it for us. So my sister Portia, who's in Vancouver, she was saying the other day that my nana would record like when she was going out, she'd record like the soaps for her, or she'd record like one of the shows and sit there and just pause it on the breaks and sit in front of the telly. And used to think, that's fucking ace. We were right. We think we weren't spoiled or entitled, but that was our version of being spoiled, wasn't it, as kids?
Yeah.
Someone bringing a show around, you've not got to fast forward the adverts or anything. So yeah, respect to Mark, my cousin. He's still alive. He's like mid-60s now, same age as my mum. But yeah, really brings good memories, I think, watching these Bonds. And I think because this was a more modern one out of the collection, it always seems to resonate more because it was at the time as I was watching. It was only a couple of years old when I started watching the James Bond stuff. So the stuff in the 60s, even though I loved them, you could feel that they were dated. So yeah, so I've gone around the houses, but Roger Moore was my James Bond, whatever anyone says.
It's so weird you say that about it feeling modern, because I was literally thinking that this week. In my heart, this is a modern James Bond movie, even though it's
40 years old. 41 years old.
It's so weird that you said that, but and also about the entitlement, because one of the things that would irritate me, and I can't think of a good example, but like if someone's doing the fucking hard graft and pausing for all the adverts, pausing the recording for all the adverts and everything, but then pop out for a cup of tea or something, and then you miss 5 minutes of the story, and then you're watching the film years later, and you're like, the fuck's this? Is this a deleted scene or something?
I'm entitled going, the fucking wanker, why did he fucking do that? Or my nan was notorious.
You missed it all out. What are you doing? Get back on the fucking job.
My nan, she was notorious for missing the start of a show, but most of the time it was because, say, she was doing EastEnders or Coronation Street. Well, no, it'd be Emmerdale. Say she was doing Emmerdale, then Corrie. Well, obviously they're on the same channel, but say it was Emmerdale and EastEnders, you've got to switch over, haven't you, and everything. But she was notorious if you said to her, could you record this for me, Nan? I'm going out. And she'd record something. Or to be fair, my dad's mum and dad, they were the same. My granddad, like Phelps, he'd do the same for us. I remember him recording. This is God's honest truth. We went to Benidorm in I'm not having a dig at you, Dave, before we go any further, but the 1996 FA Cup final, when we beat you, Cantona scored 86th minute. I did have it on video for years. And we went away and we watched it in a pub, and there was a Cockney Scouser giving us all aggro about United. I think I've told this story. He was giving me a right load of shit. I was only 17 and he was giving me aggro, and I thought he's going to end up fucking chiding me or something, because he was I was a 17-year-old kid, but he was a proper fucking Cockney. And he had a ponytail, and he had a yellow Liverpool away shirt on. And I was there. We didn't say anything. I wasn't being cocky. I wasn't being anything. We were just watching the game. And he was being a knob. Oh, the Mancs are here, watch your handbags. But there was loads of Mancunians in this bar in Benidorm. It's right next, never forget it, where they filmed Benidorm, the TV show next to the Ocos and Pelicanos. Right there was a sports bar there. And this is 96. And obviously, Cantona scores. It was that season where he come back from the ban and he scored 1-0. We kept winning 1-0 and we won the double. And we beat you. And this Scouser was giving me fucking aggro. Oh, he was giving me, I don't know why. I don't know what I'd done to him. I'd not said a word. I'd not done the Chris Phelps being a dick or anything. I would have deserved it. And when we scored, Dave, it was the greatest ever. I fucking turned around. Because I said to him, he said something to me, and I leaned into him and I just went dead cool. I went, I think he needs to be quiet. About 60 minutes in, and he went, what do you mean? I went, because when Eric scores, we're going to fucking jump on you. And he looked at me going, I remember him saying something like, I've just been threatened here by a man, or something like that. And I wasn't threatening him. I was just like, basically telling him to shut the fuck up. And as he scored, there was a group of women behind just dived on him. And we all dived on him as United scored. Oh, he stormed out the fucking pub. You fucking bastard, you Mancunian bastards and all this. And everyone was like waving at him. And we won the game. But as I went home, my granddad, he was a City fan. He was the only City fan, the fan of my dad's dad. He recorded the whole game. And it was on BBC. He did it on BBC. And then he recorded. And I had this fucking remember the 4-hour VHSs were so important. You had a 4-hour VHS, they were like gold. It was a 4-hour VHS he bought for me and recorded everything. No, there was all the things on it. He even jumped on certain bits that I didn't want to see about Liverpool. He'd stop the recording and all this. Oh, Dave, magical days on the VHS. I'm sure everyone listens the same, but this era of like VHSs, our kids will never understand. Like it was so niche.
Just put Netflix on and fucking get it right on demand. Don't even have to go to the video shop or anything. Never mind. Stop all the adverts recording.
And Chris Phelps' fucking wanking fucking scheme of just going past it so nobody knows you've just watched the sexy scene. That don't happen on Netflix, Dave, does it? Fucking, well, it does, I suppose, but fucking... Yeah, I fucking love it.
I still don't understand your logic, because if I put a video on and it was just after the sexy scene and I knew it was after the sexy scene, I would think, you know, you'd finished the job and then just turned it off and left it where it was.
But in my brain, it's a rationale to people that I wasn't fucking pulling me fucking plonker all day, Dave. That was the fucking thing. That was the in my mind, it's a rationale. It's to look people in the eye to say, yeah, I wasn't fucking, you know, creaming myself in some fucking tissues.
Not with the shoulder diaries.
Not with the shoulder diaries, yeah. The red shoulder diaries were the best, Dave. But anyway, nothing to do with James Bond, this, but yeah, just...
Oh, I don't know.
Well, actually, Tanya Roberts, fuck me. But yeah, I genuinely believe that this era, even though it's an important movie for me because it is about what the VHSs were about, like how we coped with media and how we were thirsty for just different movies. And Roger Moore's just fucking smarmy as fucking this. He's fucking 57, for God's sake. Unreal.
All right. Well, on that note, should we get into our trailer?
Let's go.
This summer, James Bond returns.
And so does his chiropractor. It's supposed to be Roger Moore. Okay.
He's suave, he's sophisticated, he's legally required to stretch before action scenes.
Look, when your secret weapon is ibuprofen, it might be time to review the job description.
Roger Moore is back for one last mission.
And you could practically hear his knees negotiating every staircase.
A mad industrialist plots to dominate the microchip market.
Which in the 80s was apparently worth blowing up Silicon Valley for.
Opposing him, the deadly and unpredictable Mayday.
Grace Jones, like she's wandered in from a much cooler film and decided to stay.
There will be danger, intrigue, increasingly careful stunt doubles.
We need to talk about that. Some of these weird wide shots are doing serious heavy lifting.
From Paris to San Francisco, Bond is on the case.
And at a pace best described as deliberate.
A view to a kill.
That is fair. The only Bond film where the theme song runs faster than the lead actor.
The name is Bond.
And he'll be sitting down now, thanks.
MI6 agent James Bond is sent to Siberia to locate the body of 003 and recover a Soviet microchip. Q analyzes the microchip, establishing it to be a copy of one designed to withstand an electromagnetic pulse made by government contractor Zorin Industries. Bond visits Ascot Racecourse to observe the company's owner, Max Zorin. Sir Godfrey Tibbett, a race trainer and an MI6 agent, believes Zorin's horses, which win consistently, are drugged, although tests proved negative. Now, Chris, what do you reckon to the opening of this movie?
Oh, Dave, I love this. You know when we've talked about going to school and I put on like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the bit where he sings Twist and Shout, Back to the Future, Johnny Be Good. I think this used to come in if I was a little bit bored of watching them. I don't know why. There was some sort of inspirational Tony Robbins thing to get me to go to fucking school because I hated it. But I would love the start of this where the fucking Beach Boys come in. It's obviously fucking there, and he finds 003. He's got his little fucking, I don't know, his fucking metal detector or whatever. He's looking for, he finds him. Then all of a sudden the henchmen come, the KGB again. And he's on the skis. I mean, fucking hell, to be fair, some of the skiing's amazing. At one point, he's got one ski doing it. But as soon as we get the ski fucking thing that gets destroyed, the little ski sled thing, and he's got this, like, I always wanted to do snowboarding after watching this game. I used to be pretty good at skateboarding, so I always wanted to try snowboarding. And I was like, yeah, I don't know why. And then the Beach Boys just coming from nowhere. He does like a half
so
pike.
weird.
He does a half pike on two of the KGB guys, doesn't he, with his fucking snowboard. And then we just get this whole like 2-minute montage of him doing fucking snowboarding. But what I love in this movie, this has got to have, and I know there's probably worse ones. I think this has got some of the worst fucking body doubles to Roger Moore that they don't even hide. They don't even hide it. That's what's even better. It's not like it's from the back or anything. They literally don't give a shit. And also, the stunts, like when they do the old scenery in the background, the old fucking studio shit, and it's Roger Moore supposed to be getting fired at.
I was going to mention about that.
Bad. That looks so bad at the start.
It's like watching an old Alfred Hitchcock movie or something, isn't it?
It's fucking awful. And then he ends up in the little fucking submarine. And all I kept thinking was, there's a bit where he goes, he puts the fucking seat up when he gets into the little submarine. It looks nothing like an iceberg, by the way. It looks fucking well obvious it's not a fucking iceberg. And he's like, oh, well, it's 5 days till we get to Siberia. And I'm thinking, hang on, where's the toilet? It's going to stink in there of farts. It's not the fucking romantic thing you think it is, Jim Boy. But next minute, he's getting a bit of action straight away. Honestly, this is so dated, Dave, and I fucking love it, honestly. It brings back so many good memories. But that bit is ridiculous at the start.
My emotions are all over the map on this one because, as you said before, you grew up watching James Bond, and because of, when we grew up, it was Roger Moore who was the latest James Bond, and the Sean Connery ones seemed a little bit outdated. They were from the 60s and they just weren't our era. They weren't with the cool kids. I'm watching it now and I'm like, oh, fucking hell. I mean, I love, you mentioned about Daniel Craig. I love Casino Royale. And I remember at the time, now, just thinking about it, a lot of the feedback was, this is a grittier, more serious Bond and what have you. But I think in my mind, that has become Bond, the more serious iteration of him. And going back to this one, because I haven't watched a Roger Moore James Bond movie for years, and coming back, I'm like, fucking hell, Mike Myers didn't really have to do that much to make Austin Powers from these. He just kind of had to take this and exaggerate it a tiny bit. Because I think the snow scene, what I would say is props to the stuntmen in this. I mean, look nothing like Roger Moore, but the skiing stunts are fantastic. But it's almost like No Retreat, No Surrender 3 levels. Where you say, I mean, Roger Moore, he's so fucking old. He's nearly 60. And then the camera pans out and you've got this fucking gazelle, just going across this fucking ski slopes and everything. It is just so jarring. And like you say, when suddenly it goes from the real, on set, on location shooting and everything, to in a studio in London, probably, or Elstree Studios or something, where it's him behind a cinema screen or something like that. It just looks so ridiculous. And like you say, the fact that he's getting a bit of action so early on, almost straight off the bat, I'm like, oh, I think my memory is playing tricks on me. I am remembering this quite differently. I do not think this is a good movie at all. But what I will say is it is still very enjoyable. But I don't know if my emotions are from the nostalgia, or like if someone was to come in and watch this now, if I was to bring my kids in and watch this, what they would make of it. I think they'd be horrified about quite a lot of things in there, but he's like a cartoon character, isn't he? He's almost like fucking Johnny Bravo or something. And the way that he's such an obvious man whore, but just fantastic at everything. Yeah, I kind of really enjoyed it, even though I do think it's shit.
I mean, when he gets to the fucking headquarters, MI5 headquarters, and they're like, right, get dressed. I mean, he's got a fucking top 3-piece suit on, hasn't he? And Moneypenny's there and everything. And they go to fucking Royal Ascot. And it's that thing again, and it's so you've got fucking Max Zorin there, Christopher Walken's hair, the blonde fucking hair is ridiculous.
What was the guy from No Retreat, No Surrender 3?
Franco.
Franco, that's it. I wondered if Franco took inspiration from Walken here.
He could have done it on Bino Special, but he just... And then you've got Grace Jones there, aren't you, Mayday? And he's like, yeah, who's the woman in the red there? And he's like, oh, it's Mayday. We don't know much about her. She's American and all this. And literally, I mean, the movie's on for over 2 hours, 2 hours, 11 minutes, 131 minutes. But it literally starts so quick because you get to Royal Ascot, the horse wins, and then with typical James Bond, he's picked fucking his horse and he's picked the winning horse, Moneypenny's fuming. He's like, oh, I'll take you to dinner when I get back to, get back to London. And she's like, oh, for God's sake. But then straight away, we've got Tibbet, Patrick Mitney, the Avengers. He becomes the fucking, I do like that bit, I must admit. He becomes his fucking chauffeur. And they know when they get to the main stables there, don't they? Oh, sorry, no, so I'm lying. We get the thingy bit, don't we get the Paris bit first? Sorry, before the stables.
Yeah,
so,
iconic.
Sorry, that's one of my favourite bits. Obviously, I still don't understand the logic of the guy who dies when they're doing that fucking scene with the flying butterflies. That woman's fucking wooing him, hypnotic, and there's someone at the side of a fishing rod. I still don't understand what's in that thing. It's not like it's explained. And fucking Mayday turns up and just levers the other person. Nobody bats an eyelid. And then they start flying around the room and it hits him on the fucking, the neck cheek area, and he's dead. And it's like, well, it's not explained what it's just a fucking a fishing hook, but for some reason it kills him. I still don't understand that.
Well, I'm guessing it would have, I don't know, be laced with cyanide or something. There'll be some kind of poison. But, again, James Bond's reaction there is just because everyone kind of gathers around, and he's like, oh, he's got a fly in his soup. He throws out the one-liner there.
And the guy's called Aubergine as well, Dave. Fuck me, Achille Aubergine.
Oh, some of the names.
I'm not.
Oh my God. I mean, I remember, the obvious ones like Pussy Galore and things like that. But yeah, fucking Aubergine. I was like, come on.
Achille Aubergine. Fucking ridiculous.
Were these from the same writers of Hello or something?
I think so. But even when he's chasing Mayday, he's firing, and he's got the old gun, he's firing. Iconic scenes, they are, to be fair. They are iconic scenes. But it's the bit where Mayday jumps off the side of the fucking Eiffel Tower, and somehow James Bond she's about 2 fucking miles away at this point, but he jumps on the lift, which is iconic. He's stood on the top of the lift as it goes down. There's no explanation at the bottom how he gets down there, but he can somehow catch up to her when she's fucking... It's that bit is utterly... And I do say about the car's in it, maybe not even a minute, I'd say. Probably it's not, and it gets absolutely wrecked, but there's a bit where the roof comes off and the back end of it gets hit and he's still driving it. And that guy, the stunt double, looks nothing like fucking Roger Moore. He's got fucking brown hair. They don't even hide it like they do it from the back or the side. He's full on in front of you. There's about 3 bits in that action sequence that look nothing like Roger Moore. And I'm like, how have the audiences not even fucking cottoned on to this? We probably did years ago. Honestly, Dave, it's absolutely terrible that for the stunt double stuff. They don't even hide it, which I find it's utterly, for such a big movie, is utterly poor for me.
Yeah, I think probably audiences just put up with it, though. It's just one of those things. You just sort of forget about it. You immerse yourself into the movie and you accept the fact that the lead actor isn't also, an Olympic skier and also, crack martial artist. And so you accept the fact that the stunt man or stunt woman is going to be different. But I do think they hide over the years. They've obviously got better at that, hiding it at different camera angles and whatever. But yeah, it is funny going back to this one. It's so jarring when it cuts, and even if they got the wig perfect and everything, I think it'd still be really jarring just because of the way he moves. I mean, he's nearly a 60-year-old bloke. And so, when we get older, we move in a different way. And then suddenly he's this sprightly 20 or 30-year-old or something, moving like a gazelle. So, yeah, it's just amazing. But again, I do like the fact that you've got this iconic Paris setting. It is absolute nonsense that he catches up with Mayday and then they end up on the fucking boat there and whatever. Like, yeah, there's absolutely no chance of that. But again, you kind of go with it and accept. So by about this point, especially like say when fucking Aubergine, and I'm sort of rolling my eyes, but then I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna go with it. Like, stop fighting it. Just go with it, man.
Fucking Aubergine. What a fucking name that is. I just don't understand how they got away with that, Dave. But then, go on. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I'm saying I go with it, and I kind of do. But when you get old Avengers bloke there, and he's playing the valet, isn't he? And I must admit, I thought, I don't really remember him being in many of the Bonds. He's such an iconic actor, isn't he? And,
yes.
So when they get to the room, and it's that classic espionage, isn't it? It's that Cold War. Okay, the Soviets are going to be, they'll have a listening device or something like that. And obviously, it's the technology of the day. And they find the bug in the room because, Max there, he wants to listen in on the conversations to the people so that they can find out what they're willing to pay for the horse and whatever and maximize the amount they'll get. It's the fact that he puts down his little tape recorder and he's lambasting his chauffeur there. But I'm thinking, okay, so like, was it the day or the week before you literally stood in a studio bickering for 8 hours or something just in case, you wanted to go out and speak on the balcony? So I said I went with it, but for that bit, I just couldn't help but thinking, like, when did you record all of that?
Yeah, because it's like that guy's going, oh, I won't want to be his fucking chauffeur. Yeah, I don't think anybody would. And I understand the logic behind it because it's Bond. Like you say, it's espionage. He's a spy. He does this sort of thing himself. And every movie, there's always been some sort of listening device in there. They usually lean into it with Bond, don't they? There's usually something in one of the movies where there's some sort of device by the baddies to try and catch, whether it's a hotel room or a car or whatever. There's always a tracking device. There's always something. But I'm with you also, the fact that I don't really buy Patrick Macnee as this like horse trainer come MI6 agent because he's not that fucking good, is he? I mean, Bond goes round, he's called fucking James St. John Smythe. I mean, come on, fucking hell. What a
Where
name.
Did he pull that one out of his arse?
I know. Was he living in fucking Hong Kong or something? He's like a British fucking nationalist or something. I just don't get that name at all. That's a real strange name, isn't it? Like to use St. John Smythe does make any. It's just, I don't know, James Smith maybe. I don't know where that comes from, Dave. But I also think like Bond goes on a bit of a recon mission, and then you've got Sir Tibbet there, and he gets caught, and he's fucking shit, isn't he, Dave? He's like walking around the stables and that, looking for the horses and see what they're doing to the horses and everything. And he's supposed to be an MI6 agent, and I'm like, all right, you don't have to be as good as Bond, but you're almost at the levels of like a failed cop in, say, Lethal Weapon, or like where the cops are so shit in all these movies. You need to have the special detectives to shoot straight, find the clues because they're useless. Honestly, he's almost like a comedy fucking character, isn't he, really, in the movie? He's not really convincing to me. Even as a driver, he's not convincing.
Yeah, I mean, not the most useless cop in the film. We'll get to that later, I'm sure. But I think that's a trope that you see throughout the movies, isn't it? Even I guess even now, you have to have some incompetence. Think of Die Hard. So think about how crap all of the policemen were, and you've got this New York cop who has to come in and save the day. I think that's a normal thing, but I don't know if it's again just part of the fabric of James Bond. But I'm watching this, and we are no spring chickens, Chris. But I'm watching this, and I'm thinking, well, you got Roger Moore there pushing 60, but everyone around him's a lot fucking older as well. So it's just like watching a film with all these old people. I just found it, and Q, fucking hell. I can't imagine he had much longer for this world after this movie. So I just surprised how old everyone was. But yeah, I mean, when they go, like you say, he's pretty crap, and then they find the underground lair, and again, I just feel like it's so Austin Powers that some of the sets that they have. I mean, to go to that length, to have that whole underground base, it made me think a little bit of Enter the Dragon. I had that kind of feel to it, just at the stables. How long did that take to build all of that fucking stuff there? But I do love, again, just some of the absolute nonsense. Is like, you think he's going to get caught out, don't you? It's like, oh, shit, they know he's out. And then, again, you get the stuntman. You got almost like a drawbridge, haven't you? You got the stuntman jumping to it's just clearly not Roger Moore. But he can't make it back. And Max knows then. It's like, oh, it's St. John Smythe. He's up to something. And Mayday, right, I just need to go to my room and, get changed. And he's in the bed there. And he's saying, oh, I'm waiting for you, Mayday. Waiting for you to take care of me personally. And she just fucking gets in, drops what she's wearing, and climbs into bed. And yet, again, one of the things I kind of love, and again, it is shit, but she's kissing him, and then he does that thing where he's kissing her back, but he kind of opens his eyes as if to say, ooh.
I think this is like the third woman he slept with in less than an hour in the movie. It's fucking brilliant, isn't it? He's absolutely brilliant. You're right. And because like Christopher Walken's the best, they're supposed to be in love, these two, aren't they? And he just sort of looks at her, and she looks at him and say, oh, I'm going to have a fucking go with him here. You know what I mean? I'm having a bit of this. And Chris Walken just looks, goes, okay, then. Just carries on walking off. And I'm like, that doesn't play into what Mayday says later about she thought he loved her. Well, maybe when you had a bit with fucking James Bond, because I'm sure at this point, hasn't Zorin run the computer thing through and he's looking at James Bond on that screen where it's like, oh, yeah. Oh, really? And James Bond stood in front of him, isn't he? He knows who he is. He knows he's a secret agent. But it's like everyone's playing a game of chess at this point, aren't they? Not trying to reveal the hand. But then what makes me laugh about the situation with Mayday is he then kills fucking Tibbet. He takes one for the team, doesn't he, Dare? That was obvious that was going to happen. He's a bumbling fool. And they end up in, what's in there? And then they end up like in San Francisco. I mean, Tanya Roberts, Dave, let's be honest, she's got to be one of the sexiest fucking Bond girls. She's absolutely gorgeous, isn't she, Tanya Roberts? I know she's got to be a pain in the arse in real life, but she is absolutely gorgeous in this. She's got to be one of my favourites, I think.
I mean, she is a beautiful woman. I do have to say, though, the Bond girls aren't necessarily there for their acting prowess, and she is god-awful. I mean, she is absolutely terrible. And he ends up kind of tailing her, doesn't he? Because he thinks that there's this whole thing about $5 million, and he thinks she might be in with Max Zorin, but actually she's not. And, I'm thinking at that point, I know what's coming here. Well, actually, he doesn't sleep with her for ages, does he? And the fucking age gap, there's like 22 years between them. But he's with her, but what is it? I'm going to have to find the actual quote because, in fact, there's various things that she says where it's obviously, it's the ADR, so it's not the sound from the location. It's in a studio somewhere, but it's when they get arrested, and she's like, "Wait a minute, this is James Stock of the London Financial Times," and I'm like, Oh, and when she's going through some of the exposition to basically tell the audience the plot, I just found it so grating. I don't think I've seen acting like that. Apart from like some of the terrible movies we've seen, the likes of Champagne and Bullets and stuff like that. I think her acting was on that level.
I agree, and that bit makes me laugh. He says he's from the Times or whatever. He's a reporter, but then kicks the shit out of about four secret agents, doesn't he? And still keeps the premise up that he's not James Bond. He's in that house scene, and then you've got the other guy who comes, the other cop, who also just gets taken out straight away, doesn't he? He absolutely gets taken out in the car in her house. And again, he's still saying he's a fucking reporter, and she buys it. And it's only when he's in fucking when they end up in San Francisco with the fire fucking hydrant thing and the escape, and he goes, "Yeah, my name's Bond. I'm a secret agent, MI6." And the guy goes, "Is he?" Oh, the copper. Sorry, it's the copper. And he goes, she went, "Are you?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm secret agent James Bond," and blah blah blah. And I'm still thinking, did you not realize, Stacey, when he kicked the shit, no normal fucking reporter's going to be super soldier?
That's literally when she says that quote that he's James Stock. I mean, James Stock from the fucking Financial Times.
Fuck me. Where have they pulled these from, Dave? This is like me and you writing a movie, isn't it? Like, well, just fucking throw it together. It's fucking
But you said about the Goldfinger thing, and I think the thing that made me think of Goldfinger is just the ridiculous model set. So Max is there in his blimp, and you're getting again the exposition because presumably everyone knows in that room, but he basically explains how, they've cornered the microchip market. But the thing is, it seems to me like he's talking to a bunch of business people. He's not talking to a bunch of crime lords or anything. And then he brings up his little model. Again, how long did it take someone to create that? Just for this moment, to have this model of Silicon Valley raise up to show everyone, show all these business people, and he's going to basically blow it up. And I'm thinking, we all have a job. But when you're talking about cornering the microchip market versus mass murder, there's a different kind of level there. And of course, you get the fucking sacrificial lamb, don't you? You get the guy who's like, yeah, I'm not really into this. I think I'm out. Oh, let Mayday show you the way out. And again, it's just the ridiculous death. I mean, they're in a fucking blimp for a start. It's just, oh, do you want to go down the stairs? Oh yeah, I'll go down the stairs. Where the fuck do you think it leads? And of course, you get the stairs drop, don't you? And it becomes this fucking slide. And then you get the most ridiculous. I mean, it was Young One's level of fucking special effects, this one, because you get the dummy falling down into the sea, don't you? And it's just so obviously a dummy. It's just ridiculous. But again, it is so shit. It's ridiculous. It is definitely pure Austin Powers. But I just enjoyed it. I couldn't wipe the smile off my face at how ridiculous it was.
And I think you were laughing in the trailer and stuff about how Roger Moore moves, but the fact that they use a blimp, Dave, is he's traveling at like 3 miles an hour, is probably right, really, for the way Roger Moore is. Because when he has to fight with Mayday, before Mayday realizes that Zorin's going to leave her down like in the fucking shaft and everything, the mine and everything, they go from fighting each other. But like Grace Jones is fit, isn't she? She's obviously, she's about 30 in this at this point. She's got moves. You can see that she's athletic. And then you got Roger. Yeah, exactly. You got Roger Moore just fucking as stiff as a fucking ironing board. And then it just makes me laugh how she switches again. It's like Jaws all over again, isn't it? Like in Moonraker, where he goes from, obviously, The Spy Who Loved Me, he's just a big bad and he's an absolute maniac. And I used to be shit scared of him as a kid, think, where's he going to turn up in the movie? Because Roger Moore just looked like a fucking vertically challenged person, shall we say. I know it's been politically correct there, Dave, but he vertically challenged against fucking Richard Keel. But in this, it's the same trope. It's almost like Fast and Furious levels of, we're going to become a baddie, but really, we can still redeem ourselves and become a goodie. And she's, for that split second, we almost get like the Anakin Skywalker redemption arc, don't we, Dave? You know, like where she decides to help him. I thought he loved me. I think your love finished when you and fucking Jim fucking St. John Smythe fucking had a dabble in front of Max's face, mate. I don't think he was into the cuckold fucking chair in the corner, the fucking Mayday. You know what I mean?
I'd kind of forgotten about this, but I'm sure when we did Goldfinger, I was basically saying James Bond has a magical penis. Like, you'll have a woman who's on the baddie's side, and then James Bond will sleep with them, and then they see the light, and that's their redemption. And that's what's happened to Mayday.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's got like a secret fucking cum with a microchip that makes him go good or something. 00 cum, license to film.
Some nanobot or something like that. Yeah, that's the only way I can explain Mayday's sacrifice there.
It's unreal. I mean, even Max is like, oh, no, Mayday. Oh, see ya. And then we get that ridiculous fight on the Golden Gate Bridge, and the fucking that whole thing with the blimp is ridiculous in it. Because they're trying to say that Zorin was created in a lab, like, you know. I know Dolph Lundgren's in this. It was because he was going out with Grace Jones at the time. I know because he was on set that he got the part of like a KGB. But you would buy. I know he wouldn't have probably been able to act as good as Christopher Walken, but you would buy Dolph Lundgren as the steroid created fucking, you know, lab experiment. But Christopher Walken's just him. It's not like he takes his top off. We see a little bit of karate, don't we, with Mayday earlier on, which is questionable at the best of time. But it's not like
where he's in normal stuff and she's in a fucking practically a G-string leotard.
Yeah. But again, doing this fight scene, and it's like, but nothing convinces me that he's nails. There's nothing about Christopher Walken goes, he's a super fucking agent. He's an absolute psycho who killed James Bond. I am not worried about fucking Roger Moore or James Bond or St. John Smythe, what you want to call him, one iota in this movie. I think that's where they fail with him, is they should have had a hen. He had Mayday. Obviously, you know, Grace Jones is good, but you sort of knew that eventually he was going to have to face Zorin at some point, and it just didn't feel like there was any jeopardy to fighting him. You just knew he was going to beat him.
Yeah, I think so. There was no physical prowess there at all, was there? And again, though, just going back slightly to the mines, where, again, all these miners that are in there, because the whole point is they're going to set off this bomb, you know, a little bit Superman 1, isn't it, with the fault line and setting off an earthquake and everything. But he just guns down everyone, and Christopher Walken is hamming this up like you wouldn't believe, like genuine Dr. Evil levels. And I just found it ridiculous. And you had the kind of older, was he German or was he Russian, or I couldn't quite work out the accent, with the monocle, you know, to make him extra maniacal, you know, and he's trying to, you've got the old school Dynamite, haven't you? Like it's Wile E. Coyote or something. And you just know, as soon as he lights that, you're like, yeah, something's going to happen, and you're going to be the one who's going to blow up. And sure enough, it did. But I guess I fucking hate heights, Chris. So I guess I didn't feel a worry for Bond, but just whenever I see them on some sort of heights like that, even though I know it's all special effects, it still sets off a reaction in me. I'm just like, oh God, I fucking hate that. Yeah,
it is. It's a weird ending though, isn't it, to James Bond? You're right with the heights and everything, and I don't know. Again, though, he ends up fucking like, you know, Bond's he kills Zorin and everything, and we go back to London and they're like, oh, James Bond's missing. You know, Moneypenny's like, can hear it on the speaker, like, oh my God, he's dead. And then we get Q with his little fucking robot. That was an overspill from Moonraker, because I'm sure, and Star Wars, I'm sure they were in fucking the original Star Wars, going around the fucking Death Star when Obi-Wan fights Darth Vader. But he comes with that, and next minute he's like, oh, and then fucking Q's there fucking doing a bit of voyeurism, Dave. He's watching what's going on with
perv on, isn't he?
Yeah. It's like, oh, he's alive, sir. What's he doing? Oh, he's just closing things off or whatever. It's like, the ending is just bombed. But again, Dave, I do love the fact with the we haven't talked about the soundtrack with Duran Duran is excellent. It was the only Bond song that's been to number one. It was there in the US. It was there for 2 weeks. But I love the little sprinkles of the song through the film where it's like a slow piano version or whatever. It really fits it. I think the soundtrack's excellent in this. So again, what a movie, Dave. What an absolute cracking movie this is.
Well, again, I'm not quite sure I'm going to go along with you there, but entertaining for sure. But Chris, you got anything else, or should we get into our final review?
Let's go. So, Dave, I inflicted this on you, and I understand it's your pick next week. So, just bear that in mind. It wasn't a terrible movie. Can we just throw that out there right now before we start watching some sword and sorcery bullshit next week? But, and I know that's probably what's coming. But anyway, I love this movie, and you're right. There is so much wrong with it. Roger Moore, Roger Moore does say it, Dave. You watched a lot of the articles, and he says, like, listen, I was too old for this movie. Like, it just doesn't fit. Even like the age gap and everything, he does genuinely say that. He says like it's too much when you watch it, and he said all this. But I did see, Dave. Have you ever seen? You must have read it. I think we talked about it previously. The story about when Roger Moore meets that reporter at the airport. It's a dead old story.
I don't think so.
Oh, it's amazing. So Roger Moore meets this guy. And he talks to him at the airport, and he says, and he tells him this story that when he was a kid, he went to get his autograph, and he signed the autograph in Roger Moore, and the kid was devastated with his dad or his grandparent, his granddad, and he says, I was devastated because you didn't sign it James Bond. I said to my granddad, you're James Bond. And I'm paraphrasing the story, but ultimately, he signs it and all this sort of thing. And then he's like, Roger Moore said, he's a lovely guy, and we're chatting away. He says, and then he goes off, and then he comes back later on, and he says to him, he just says, the reason I signed that, he said, because Blofeld was fucking about, and sort of winks at him and fucking smiles. And this is a top story about Roger Moore, like how he said, like, I had to do it because I didn't know who I could trust, sort of thing. And this guy was like beaming. It's like a dead famous story. It's brilliant. So I love Roger Moore for that. Really good guy. But anyway, I'm going to send this, Dave, to Pleasantville. He's not at the top. However, I love this movie, and I will watch this again over and over. It's utterly shit. It makes no sense. None of it does. James Bond is just a rampant fucking well, I was going to say something else today, but he's just rampant all the way through. He was Viagra before we'd even knew what them blue pills were. He didn't need it, Turbo Dick, fucking James St. John Smythe. It don't make sense. Chris Walken is absolutely useless, but hamming it up. Mayday, Grace Jones, I can believe as like the baddie, but again, like you say, fucking turbo sperm just converts everybody. It's almost like a magic potion, and they fucking want to help James Bond. They must have a fucking 12-inch chopper or something, Dave. Unbelievable, James Bond. But again, it's just stupid, and it was sort of like putting the full stop on Roger Moore's 10 years James Bond. So yeah, classic movie for me. So what about yourself, Dave?
Very good. Well, I'm really struggling to score this one. I think the amount of nostalgia to just go back to a Roger Moore movie, and like you say, the music was so good, and it was a bit of a surprise. Like you say, they've got the Duran Duran track, but played in multiple different ways by an orchestra and stuff, where it's all soft in the background, but it's still the same melody. I think it just gives you that feel of the movie, but like I say, the age gap between him and the blonde Bond girl is just ridiculous. The hamminess of Christopher Walken, the ridiculousness, the fact that this is closer to Austin Powers than it is to, say, Casino Royale.
100%.
That's what I'm struggling with. So I just don't think this is a very good movie at all. But I did really enjoy it. So I think I'm going to have splinters on my arse here. I'm going to sit right in the middle. I'm going to go Hill Valley. I think if you were to objectively look at this as a movie again, if I showed this to my kids, really don't think they'd like it at all. So I'd be tempted to go Elm Street, but for pure enjoyment and pure nostalgia, I'd almost be pushing Pleasantville. So yeah, right in the middle, Hill Valley.
Good stuff, Dave. Good stuff. And I can't argue with that. I can't argue. We've had some good fun today. So, Dave, go easy on me. What's your pick for next week, my friend?
Well, sometimes you do have an influence on what I'm going to pick next week. And this isn't a stitch up, but it might be sort of a stitch up on myself. So watching this, and again, probably third time I've mentioned it, but Aubergine, having that ridiculous, again, just clearly the British writing and just almost sneering at other fucking names and whatever foreigners are out there. Oh, French must be called aubergine. It had me thinking about a movie that I absolutely loved, and it is very much in the spoof kind of genre, so like the Naked Guns and things like that. And this is very much in the spy espionage space as well. And I can't remember which film I was watching, but I was at the cinema and I saw the trailer. And the first thing that happened is you had this camera angle where it was looking at a room full of people and this massive telephone, so that you were looking at, you think the telephone is really close to the camera, and then the guy comes up and he just lifts up and actually it's just a massive telephone. And as a kid, I just found it really funny. But anyway, Chris, this is from 1984. It stars Val Kilmer, and it is Top Secret. Now, let's get into the trailer.
I don't think I've seen this one, Dave. Top Secret. And especially 84. Val Kilmer couldn't ring a bell to me.
I don't know that this one is going to age wonderfully.
No, I've definitely not seen this.
Oh, no.
Look, I'm not the first guy who fell in love with a
What
girl he met in
the
a restaurant
hell?
who then turned out to be the daughter of a kidnapped scientist, only to lose her to a
How
child
did he get
lover
Jim
she last
Morrison?
seen on a deserted island and who turned out 15 years later to be the leader of the French underground.
I know it. It all sounds like some bad movie.
Got a girl named Daisy. She almost drives me crazy. Got a girl named Daisy. She almost drives me crazy. She rocked me to the east, she rocked me to the west, but she's the girl that I love best. To the fruity,
What is this? Oh my god. Fucking hell. Oh, hang on a minute. Dave. Hang on, there is a couple of good things just coming up there.
This is the scene with the phone.
What the hell? What is this fucking effort? I have never even heard of this. Fucking hell.
I think
Oh.
watching it for the first time, I don't hold out hopes that you're going to love this one, but just go with it. Just like the Bond stuff.
That is
Just
amazing,
let go
mate.
of all preconceptions and just go with it.
I will. Fucking hell, mate. Proper stitch me there. Right. A big thank you to everyone as always. If you do want to support us, please get over to patreon.com/the VHS Strikes Back. If you want to email us, the VHSStrikesBack@gmail.com. And if you want to follow us on social media at VHS Strikes Back. So, the roll call of honor and a big thank you to Matty, Reese, Nick, Greg, Gareth, Mike, Helen, Lee, Dylan, Dan, Justin, Susan, Tim, Matt, Hales, Kent, Looking at the Green, Herb, Jack, Math, Blake, John Hammond, and Mr. Tony Farina. So thank you so much, guys. Dave picks next week's movie. Don't blame me. So, Dave, what musical number have we got today, my friend?
Well, I wasn't actually sure because this was your pick. I didn't know if you were going to do something. So I had this as a backup tune.
Just what you did, because I forgot. That's what I usually do. Fucking idiot, I forgot.
So again, for this, I said it's my favourite Bond movie. Quite often I'll steer away from if someone's got an iconic kind of band or something like that, I'll try and subvert, expectations with that. But for this one, I just had to go with that kind of Duran Duran feel. And this one, Chris, is called Old Man Bond.
Painted skyline, tailored tux, microchips and aging looks, Golden Gate and danger's glow. He moves, but not too fast though. Champagne whispers, danger zone. Half his age, but not alone. Raises one brow, takes his time, saves the world before bedtime. When the spotlight hits his face and the villain sets the pace, he adjusts the cuff just right and survives another night. Oh, man, Bond, na 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 na. Oh, man, Bond, na 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 na. Glimpse above and silicone schemes. Nothing's quite the way it seems. Zoran runs, well, let him sprint. Bond prefers a measured hint. Parachutes in soft slow-mo. Stuntman takes the bigger blow. Martini glass and steady hand. He'll sit while others stand. Time may move in younger ways, but legends never fade. Silver hair and neon light, still the master of the night. Oh, night bound, na 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 na. Oh, night bound, na 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 na. Slow motion fire in the sky, explosions bloom and villains cry. He straightens up, while mostly straight, history won't hesitate. 00 forever. Old man Bond, na 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 na. Old man Bond, na 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 na. Old man Bond, na 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 na. Old man Bond, na 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 na.
Oh, mate, what an episode. Love it.
Oh, so much fun. And I think I mentioned last week, I bought all of the Bond movies on iTunes and I just haven't gone back to watch them. So as much as I was a bit shocked about how it aged, I think it has given me the taste. I kind of want to go back and watch some of the others now, like Octopussy and Moonraker and Live and Let Die. I might kind of have that as a side mission as we go in. But next week, cannot wait for you to watch Top Secret for the first time.
Thanks, mate.
I'm laughing, but I've got a feeling I love this movie, but I've got a feeling it's going to age terribly. But anyway, thank you very much for today's picks. Love the chat. Thanks to all our listeners out there. Thanks to all our supporters, and we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back.
That's not.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on, wax off.
Get to the chopper!
One ring to go.
All right. Ding, ding.
Bust you up. Go for it.
Well, here we go.
It's so bad! It's so bad! It's so bad! Come on! Come on, it's so bad! Yeah, come on! You must be crazy! crazy or something. I'm crazy? You just a stupid fool. Maybe you crazy something. I ain't breathing heavy. He's a fool. He's stupid. I seen you at 6 miles more.
I must break you.